Now this is a rather impromptu YouTube video. My student here, Shomu, did a literati from one of the trees that we have growing in the field, and he asked me to give him my opinion about what I thought of the tree. So I was giving him my views, and I in fact started doing some pruning. But while I was doing it, I had one or two other people here. So I was showing them, and I, as always, realized that what a waste if I did not show it on YouTube, because this is a very valuable lesson. You'll realize why when I come to show you the detail of the work we are doing. So this is a literati pine. I grew these Scots pines maybe 30 years ago, and if you come close, you will see that the clear aluminium wire is embedded in the trunk. When I leave it like that, I never want to take it out because it's meant to give that gnarled effect. So what Shomu has done is he's taken quite thick wire. This looks like 6mm wire probably, and you've used a lot of wire to wire it. So the basic shape is an attempt at a literati. So if you can tell me what you had in mind, and then I will give you my opinion about what it is.
So this was the front, which I was thinking about. So this is where the tree goes. And then I was trying to make a triangle in this area using these 3 pads. So this is the apex. This is which fills in the middle, and so all of them going flat.
Okay, yeah.
So if eventually when there is more leaves, it will look like a proper triangle on this side with this coming. So the idea was it would go here, and then the whole thing would thicken up, and it would show like a triangle on this side.
So were you wanting to make it like a ordinary pine, just like an informal upright, or were you aiming to do a literati?
I was aiming to do a literati. The only concern I had was there is that it looks like it has too much foliage, but this is
okay. Now, if you want a literati, and generally Scots pine lend themselves to literati because they're very long and lanky trees. That's the nature of the tree. The habit is like that. If you wanted to make a literati, then I would say there's far too much foliage. With this sort of design, the triangular design, it is a conventional informal upright tree. That is the style of the tree. And I don't like to beat around the bush. I would say that as it is designed, it is what we call a nothing tree. It doesn't do much. If you wanted to do a literati, you need a very sparse look. Literati, by its very nature and definition, is like a brushstroke painting. One brushstroke and you get the design. Here there is too much, too busy, and you cannot appreciate the beauty of the line. This tree has got potentially very beautiful line. Also, I know that I do make big trees. If you have a tree that big, with the thickness of trunk as an informal upright, it doesn't look quite right. So with the slender trunk, it is dictated almost by the thickness of trunk to be a literati style. As a literati, there's far too much going on. You have to have it very sparse. So if you want to use the full length of the tree, you need to literally keep it to very, very sparse, maybe just a couple of branches at the top. If you've seen some of our other literatis that we do, you will see that sort of effect. It's a very sparse looking tree. So if you want a literati, I don't think the line up there is so interesting. Most of the interest is in this part. So also because of the height being too big, becomes unmanageable, we need to reduce the height a little bit. So also the angle, although it came out of the pot like that, I think it would be better plant it at a slightly different angle. Maybe like so. That would be a better angle. And then, if I can now get a white bag, the famous bag trick. I don't think we need all that top. The tree stands on its own just at that height. We don't need the rest of the top there. And this would make a much more compact literati style. So if you agree, bite the bullet, get rid of that top. Also, you took all this trouble to do a lot of extensive wiring with this heavy wire. I think it is holding this. I don't like wasting wires, you know, I'm a great miser. I don't believe in wasting wire. Why do I want to cut it off? Some people, when they want to de-wire a tree, they literally go with the wire cutters and snip, snip, snip. With the heavy wire cutters, they just go snipping everywhere and get rid of it. But why should I do that when I can save the wire? Wire, after all, is expensive. Although you may have a lot of money, I don't think it makes sense to just send it to the landfill or send it for recycling. We can use it again. And as you know, for those of you who have not watched my videos, it is very easy to reuse wire. I will show you when I've de-wired it. So, see, I've de-wired the branches. Now, in that thick wire, we can de-wire.
Yeah, that's.
I don't want to spend 15 minutes showing you how to de-wire, but I will quickly do it. And when I've de-wired it, well, why not? We will just let it run. I'll just add that today is still a very warm day. I think the temperature is still going to be near 30. Yesterday was 34. So we're sweltering in here. Okay, because we're not going to need these, let's get rid of these. And we will de-wire that in our own time. And let's get rid of this as well. Less to wire, more elegant. It's a clear case of less is more. You know, a lot of people try to follow that principle, but sometimes they go to extremes and you end up with nothing. So let us see what is here. Let's not waste this either. I don't know why you wired the trunk, because wiring the trunk, this trunk's already shaped. If you were wanting to anchor, you can just do a short anchor there rather than waste all that wire to provide the anchor, because I don't think by putting wire there can help bend that trunk. This trunk has already got quite an interesting movement to it. Okay, save that wire. Anyway, it was good wiring practice anyway. The wiring was very neat.
I can actually cut the wire 1 second apart.
No, I don't need it. Saving wire. I'm sure a lot of people are going to laugh at me. Well, I have the last laugh. Now that is worth a bit. It's a heavy, thick wire. That bit of wire will cost a bit. Now this one, I know you've used it for an anchor for this.
Yeah, it goes drooping down.
Yes, so I can anchor it to that. So what I will do, I know exactly what I'm going to do. So we're going to save you some more wire. This wire's not doing anything for the trunk. Okay, so just by removing those branches, you can now see the character of that tree. And as I said, we're going to give it a slight twist like that. You see the lines of that. It's much more elegant, much more simple rather than that very, very busy look. Hang on, that's not the front. The front has to be here. You can see the line like that. This is. And these you can make gins. As it is, it's very nice as a gin. Okay. So that's all you need to do. So that is the tree now. Okay, what I have noticed here, because we put the wire on, let us do something more interesting with this leaving the wire embedded in the trunk trick. Again, this is a trick which I've told in many of my videos. People laugh at me for doing it. They say that Peter Chan, the silly fool, leaves all the wire in the trunk. Now, if this bark eventually grows over the wire, it will swell more and become much more interesting. But you can also do another thing to it. I don't know whether it's worth trying. It might be worth trying. You can also do what we call a spiral gin. So a spiral gin is simply following the path of that wire. The wire is going to provide a guide, and that wire will be the path for the shari. We're going to do like a spiral shari all around the trunk. Only like a 1/4 inch right around the trunk. Or if you didn't want to do the entire thing, you can just do the front of it so that it looks as if it's going completely around the trunk. Let me find my Stanley knife. So this is called a spiral shari. You've seen it in some junipers, you know. So perhaps we will do it only to half the tree. Don't do it on the other side, so that it appears that it's going round and round, whereas in effect it's not going round and round. It's only going in the front. Maybe do it in 2 stages like that, you see? And if you do it to this one here, I'm leaving the wire there. It'll give me a guide. I'm not in a rush to remove the wire. So that gives the effect of the thing spiraling around as the bare wood, driftwood. These are all just ideas. You see, the more ideas you have, and if you can try them, it makes the bonsai experience much more interesting, becomes richer. Experimentation is all important. If you don't experiment, you don't realize the potential that you can achieve. So you get the idea. I won't do it all. You can do it in your time. Huh? Okay. See, like that, just underneath the wire. That gives you a guide. So as I say, I'm not going right around the trunk because this is going to be our front, and you're going to watch or look at the tree just from this side for now. You see that effect? Yes. So it appears that it's spiraling around the tree. Don't forget, this is only like 5 minutes work. If you refine it, it will look even more dramatic. And so on. And then this, of course, you know how to do gins for people who haven't done gins before. You know, you just crush the bark. This hopefully, because it was a live branch, The bark should come off. No, I think that one.
That
This
was
part
not-
is dead. This
that
part
was
is
dead.
dead. Okay.
That part is
So this one but this part is live.
Yes.
The live part, the bark should come off very easily. Start off long, but then you can reduce the length of these gins to suit your taste and the design of the tree. So all that will be ginned. So all that will be white. Even at that angle is nice. There's so many different angles you can. So this is what we call a classic literati design, where sparseness is the key to a good literati design. Just a few tufts of foliage, and of course we are very lucky in this country because the Scots pine grows in nature like this. If you go in the countryside, you'll find a lot of Scots pines which have had the top dyed. I remember after the 1987 storm, many Scots pines were decimated and they ended up like this. So this is a classic characteristic of the native Scots pine. And in fact, this may be a bit long. We can shorten it even more. So you can see the beauty of the line. If we had kept the other two bits, it would have been too confusing. It would have been too confusing. In fact, that gin is also confusing. You can reconfigure it that way. You know, I'll show you another time. You can, with a blowtorch, heat it and bend the dead wood. You can bend the dead wood.
But the thing is, it's still alive. Why can't I just wire it and keep it like that? And then
You can try it. You can try it. You can wire it that way and take it that way. But I think the gin generally is a bit too long. Unless you want a gin that goes there. Maybe keep it. It can be quite nice like that, isn't it?
same angle.
Yeah, try that. This one is okay, or shorten it. So you must admit that this now looks many, many times better than its original. I still think, I'm not sure whether you really need it.
You can get it.
Yeah, you think about it, don't be in a rush to get out of it. So that is the classic literati, where sparseness and the beauty of the line is all that counts. Okay?
One last question.
Yes?
What kind of a pot will suit a literati like this?
Always drum pot. Always drum pot, yeah. But leave it, don't bother to tinker with anything. Maybe plant it this angle, fill more soil and keep it growing in this. Keep it in the flower pot till next February and then pot it on.
Okay.
Meanwhile, the branches should set. In fact, even this thick wire, I don't think it's doing much. You can link it to that if you wish.
It falls
Yeah,
down,
okay. All
so
right,
it is
good.
holding it up.
All right.
Okay.
So I hope you enjoyed that one.